One of the things that we heard when we considered this legislation last session, or one of the special sessions, I don't remember, or maybe it was in the interim when we had a hearing on vouchers. I get them confused because there have been so many. We had a panel of pro-voucher experts, and they agreed with all of them. They all agreed that the only time they found studies revealing positive impacts for students who used the voucher was when the private school could discriminate in its admissions policy. They were all in agreement on that. Has that been your experience?
It's been my experience that the best providers, as measured by test scores, are the ones that also carefully screen their admissions. Yeah. So, the theory of change here is that if you provide public subsidies to the providers that can handpick their students, that there'll be some sort of match between provider and student and parent that sort of clicks for everyone, and the educational outcomes will show that. The problem is, the flip side of that is that there is this admission denial. And the other thing I want to say, because it hasn't come up yet before, but just to sort of stress this point, we've had a lot of conversation, or I've heard a lot of conversation today about the admissions side of things, whether or not the private schools are admitting all students, or at least not formally discriminating against certain students. Like, no private school that I've ever walked into, and I've walked into a lot, puts a sign on their door that says we discriminate. Right? There's just a lot of different ways to go about doing this, right? And to just say, the match isn't for us. And the bill explicitly, in this case, allows the private schools to just simply say, either whether it's for religious purposes, or there's a phrase in this bill that I haven't seen in the other state bills. It may be there and I've just missed it, but educational mission. I'm not sure if the school's choosing to turn a child down specifically because of its educational mission instead of its religious preferences, what exactly that entails, other than perhaps students with disability. But the other thing I just really want to stress here is that a lot of the selection that we see in voucher systems, including in Indiana, which got talked about a lot earlier by a previous witness, has come by push-out, or by formal and informal expulsion, or by just sort of a softer asking a child to leave. Private schools have gotten very good in other states, like Wisconsin, for example, where I've spent a lot of time studying and writing. Private schools have gotten very good understanding that, the model, the educational model, some would say, I don't know if I go this far, but some would say they're gaming the system for the state. Some would others say their model is, we're going to take as many kids as we have room for, and then we're going to kind of figure out who fits and ask the ones who don't to leave. Either way, the net result is this. Students who leave voucher systems across the board, whether it's mid-year or in between school years, tend to be lower scoring on the exams that are administered. They tend to be more likely to be students of color. They tend to be more likely to be students with disability, and they tend to be more likely to be students with lower levels of income, even among a lower income population of users. So I just want to stress to the committee that the school's choice, the school's choosing the kids, doesn't just come at the admissions process, which is often fairly open and good faith. It also comes in the middle of the school year and between school years, as the schools start to screen out the match and those kids go back to public school.
You bring up a good point, and it reminds me, in the bill, there is a section in the bill that requires a report to be done on the program, but it only is looking at the demographics of the students who are accepted. It should also include the demographics of the students who are rejected and who are expelled.
That would be my preference, yes.